Welcome back to TorgyTalk, everybody. I'm your host, John Torgerson, along with my co-producer and co-host,
Howdy.
Jackman Johnson, and our very special guest today, Chicago comedian and pretty much Chicago legend at this point, Vince Maranto. Everybody, thank you so much for coming, man.
You know, this is like the third time I've been called a legend in the last couple of weeks, and I don't know. Is that like right before you die? Does that happen? You know, is that one of those kind of deals? Should I be flattered by this, or should I be frightened?
I think flattered. I would be flattered if I was getting called a legend at any point in my career. That'd be ideal. I just watched your Zany's set recently that Peyton Ruddy announced. I think he was hosting and he called you a legend. And I'm like, I'm gonna say Vince Maranto, Chicago legend.
Well, I like when it catches that.
Yeah. So how long have you been doing comedy?
In August, it will be 43 years.
Holy
Damn,
shit.
I was way off. I said 30.
Yeah.
Holy fuck. So how did you So how old were you when you started?
25. I'm going to be 68.
Okay.
So,
I started at 25, but I'm only 27 now, so.
Yeah.
Wow, 43 years. That's insane.
I started
in Chicago?
off at a place called the Comedy Cottage in Rosemont, where a lot of people, like back then, Arsenio Hall had just left the Comedy Cottage, and like Tom Dreesen used to come in all the time. There's a book about, I wish I would have thought of this. I would have brought it for you guys. There's a book about Chicago comedy. I forgot what it's called, but it's really cool because it's got a bunch of pictures, and the one picture is me on the stage at the Comedy Cottage, and below it, standing in the same spot as George Carlin at the stage at the Comedy Cottage.
Awesome.
So it's pretty cool to be on the same page as him. You know, I mean, it's just a picture coincidental, but it's pretty cool.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So what clubs were around back then? So Comedy Cottage.
Okay, the Comedy Cottage,
obviously.
Yeah, the Comedy Cottage in Rosemont was a showcase.
Okay.
And the Comedy Womb in Lyons was a showcase. Then Zany's was a club for like actual
Headliners.
Established
touring
people
comics,
like that. Yeah, that was what you were shooting for. There was another place called, and this is going from 82. That's when I started in 82 to about maybe 84, 85. Then clubs started to open up. There was one, Who's On First in Elmhurst. There was one called Wackos in Berwyn, which was run by two wackos, as a matter of fact. Then there was the Improv. It's so funny. The Improv used to be downtown Chicago.
Yeah.
And the Laugh Factory was in the suburbs. Then they both went away for a few years. Then they came back, but then the Improv went out to the suburbs, and the Laugh Factory.
Stromberg,
There was that.
Then Zany's Lake Zurich, right? That was
the one in
or Vernon Hills.
Vernon Hills. I couldn't think of it. Yeah, because there was a Zany's in Vernon Hills, and there was a Zany's in Mount Prospect. There was a Zany's out in Pheasant Run.
Yeah, that's
St.
crazy.
Charles.
Yeah.
There was.
They didn't last, did they?
Yeah, no. There was two Catch a Rising Stars. There was one downtown in the Hilton. There was one out in some suburb. But there was. It hit the point at about, I think maybe about 90 or 91, where there was 16 full-time comedy rooms.
Wow.
And by full-time, I mean at least Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and most of them were Tuesday through Sunday.
Yeah, now it's like what, like 2, 3?
Yeah,
like that's insane.
But the cool thing was, you could. So if you worked each club twice, that's 32 weeks out of your year. You only got to travel for 20 weeks.
Wow.
So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's wow. Okay, yeah. So you've been making a living off of this for.
Yeah, here's a little backstory, some backstory on this. So I've only had 2 jobs in my life.
Okay.
I worked for McDonald's and I did this. And
that's a fucking sweet resume. That's like the dream resume, honestly.
And as my friend Dobie Maxwell says, comedy is the job that sucks. But yeah, I started off working for McDonald's when I was 15 years old with a work permit, and then I stuck with them and I became a manager, and I ended up running the McDonald's in Woodfield Mall, which at the time was the busiest McDonald's in the world, which amazes me that at 22 years old, they gave the keys to this $1 million to a knucklehead.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When I think back of it. But anyway, it was so much work that I was saving all my money, because it's like restaurant business is 70, 80 hours, 85 hours a week. So I had enough money saved up. And back then, too, this will blow your mind, I had money in a CD, and back then the interest rates were 16.8%. So what I was getting was a little over $300 a month in interest.
That's nuts.
So I was able, with the money that I saved and that money, I was able to start and try comedy.
Wow.
So that's kind of how that got started. And what I did is I went to the Comedy Cottage a couple of times to kind of test it out and see what it was like. And it was kind of those, not to be arrogant, but one of those, well, I could do this. There's some people you go, wow, this guy's really good. And other people go, well, shit, I could be doing that. Oh, wait, can I swear in this?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, all right. I don't want to be the guy who has to stop.
No, that's okay. You dick.
Oh, were you bleeping me?
Yeah, he's got a dump button that he rarely uses, and it's he's always late on it. So, it's always a comedic relief. Yeah. So were you doing like open mics back then? Or was it like just
what you did
showcases?
at the Comedy Cottage on Thursdays and Sundays, what it was, they would have, and back then in all these places, the MC, the host, was always the strongest act. Because he had to run the whole show. The shows started at 8:30 or 9 and went till like midnight or so. You know what I mean?
Shit.
Or until the last drunk decided he didn't want to have any more drinks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So they kept throwing people up there. So what it was I went in on a Thursday. What they would do, they'd have the MC open up in like 10 minutes. Then they'd have a couple of established acts doing 10 minutes. Then the open mic guy, like me, would do 5 minutes.
Okay.
And then another 10 minute, then a 5 minute guy like that. They did that on Thursdays and Sundays.
That's a really cool way to implement
because
new comedians to it, because you're not just performing in front of other comics.
Right.
That's
really
cool.
And the Comedy Cottage, to give you an idea too, at that time, that place was an old Red Lobster or something. Anyway, it was it held about 150 people, and they would have 3 shows on Friday and Saturday because they would all sell out.
Okay.
And a lot of it too was they were very loose with checking IDs, so that helps business.
Yeah, oh yeah,
that helps business too. But anyway, so I went in on that Thursday, and it was funny. I was just thinking about this. It's no longer there anymore. The Comedy Cottage. It's now all these places that I'll reference are all they're all long gone. Right. Yeah, they're all long gone. But I went in there, and then you would sign up. And I had my 5 minutes, prepared. I'd never been on. Well, I shouldn't say I'd never been on stage before. I mean, I was like in 7th and 8th grade. Me and another guy, we hosted the talent shows. I've always been but I mean, from like a professional standpoint, I never done stand up before, and I threw in my 5 minutes there, and I did it, and it went real well. And it was like the Thursday before, in late August, before everybody went back to college. So it was really packed. Yeah. And I always think about this too. Like, if the audience sucked, would I think that I sucked and never do it again? You know what I mean?
Right.
I always think how lucky I am that it was a good crowd.
So that first time you did real well, and that was like, just.
Yeah, well, I did that. And then they told me to come back the next Sunday, which was a few days later. And I go, yeah, I could do that. And then I did that one, and then after I got off stage, they called me back on stage. They go, Vince, this is only his second time here, but we're going to make him a regular here at the Comedy Cottage.
That's fucking sweet. That's like, wow.
And here, I'll give you, I still have the sheet. Here's how the pay scale worked. For the first 7 shows that you did, it's called initiation, no pay or whatever, right? Then you started making $2 a show.
Wow.
Yeah. This pay scale then was $2, $5, $7.50, and $10. I don't know if I ever made it up to 10, to be honest with you. But I remember when you made $7.50, the owner would always, I don't know, we change them. Would always jip you out of 50 cents. Like the guys in Macon, he'd pull out a wad. They would always pay in cash. He'd pull out a wad. I don't think I have the 50 cents.
Give me 8, you dick.
Yeah, I know.
That's funny.
But yeah, so that was, and back then it was, when I started, it was myself, there was Mike Toomey. I don't know if you know, he is on the WGN Morning News. Yep. John DeCoste, Tim Banker, another guy, Greg Gliana, who is, he branched off into independent films. As a matter of fact, he wrote and directed Meet the Parents, the original version.
And Road Dogg, right?
Yeah, and Road Dogg. Yeah, I was in both of them.
Yeah, I was just about to ask you about that.
Yeah, Road Dogg was pretty cool. Yeah, Road Dogg was great. I got to really stretch my my limits, and I played a house MC. I'm like, as I said, the role that I researched for over 40 years. And but anyway, yeah. So Greg was part of that too, and then he wrote the original Meet the Parents and another movie. And there's the second movie that he did was called The Manures, but now it became a movie with Kathy Bates and Danny DeVito called Relative Strangers.
Okay.
And I had the lead in that one, and so I used to always get little parts in like his movies.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So what? Okay. So besides like. So hang on. So Road Dogg, we know Des Mulrooney really well. Not real well, I should say. I'm he's a suburb comic too.
Yeah, we've seen him around from.
What, you want to hear the story of how he got that role in a movie?
Yes, I would love to hear it.
This is unbelievable. This is what show business is, ladies and gentlemen. When they talk about opportunity.
Yeah.
So I'm doing a show outdoor at some tennis courts for like Richard Libel or something like that, and it's ridiculous. It's like everybody's got. It's outside the tennis courts. There's a stage. Everybody brings their own chairs, but it was so cold they're all under blankets and everything like that. Anyway, so Des stops in to do a guest set and say hi to me because his dad, T.P. Mulrooney, is a longtime comedian, a friend of mine. So a longtime comic. So he stops in to say hi, and then they ask him if he wants to do a guest set. So he does a guest set. So I go, well, here, before we leave, hey, we got to take a selfie. So I took a picture that I put it on Facebook. And the joke was, you've been doing this a long time. When the kids of people you perform with are performing with you. Well, Greg Gliana sees that picture, and he's casting for the role of a son of a stand-up comedian. And he's like, well, TP was his dad. Yeah. Let's see if this guy can act.
Made for it. Yeah.
And then he gets the part.
That's amazing.
Isn't that so cool?
That's awesome. That's right time, right place.
Exactly.
And a lot of stories I've heard of people getting their big break is just from something like that. Yep. Just the right place at the right time.
Yeah.
And I should have watched the movie. I have not seen Road Dogg yet.
It's a good movie.
I've watched the trailer a few times now, and the trailer makes me cry. So I'm definitely going to watch it because Des is actually supposed to come on the podcast here pretty soon too.
We're gonna have to do a group screening.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's so. Do you have what other movie credits do you have besides Road Dogg? Like you said, the one with. So were you in that one with Kathy Bates and Danny DeVito?
No.
Or you originally had the lead? You said,
yeah,
and then it got.
So what he did was he tried to both of those movies that Emo Phillips produced.
Okay.
Came up with the money for it, and when he went out, both of them didn't like the movie, but they liked the script.
Okay.
So they bought the script from him.
Gotcha.
And as a matter of fact, the one that I had the lead in, Greg doesn't even have a copy of that anymore.
Oh, wow.
He doesn't have one of those. But yeah, that's basically my limited film career is that.
Gotcha. That's so Jack and I are besides like podcast, like the podcast was like originally what I wanted to do, and then like that kind of led to comedy. Now we're kind of like we both have the similar goal to where our end goal would be to like have a sitcom.
I want like a skit series, but
sketch series or sitcom. So now we're diving into that now, and I don't know how much experience you have with sketches. Have you done sketches in the past?
Oh yeah, as a matter of fact, Greg Gliana used to. We had a thing. They showed them all on PBS. They were like just little skits and stuff that he wrote or would write with us.
Yeah.
And then we did them in a couple different small little theaters. Those little theaters that hold maybe 50, 60 people that are like in the semicircle kind of thing. Maybe 5 rows deep,
right.
if
even that. And somewhere I have what's unfortunate is somewhere I have VHS copies of all this stuff, which I don't even know where they're at. I know they're in storage, but I don't, I have no way to play them or anything like that. But that was because it was in those was myself, Greg Gliana, Mike Toomey was in a bunch of those. Mark Roberts went on to create Mike and Molly.
Okay.
Oh,
holy shit.
And I don't know if you are familiar with the show Mike and Molly, but the one character is named Vince Maranto, which is named after me.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah. Wow,
that's cool.
What it was when he was writing it, he wanted somebody with a strong Italian Chicago name like Vincent Maranto, and the writers kept throwing other names out there, and They
that makes a lot of sense. Because I googled you this morning, and it popped up. It said Vince Maranto, but it's not you. I was like, wait, that's so confusing.
Yeah,
like, okay.
that's
I'm like, whoa, and now that's super cool.
The good part of it is it makes a good story. The bad part is that when everybody Googles you, they had to go through 5,000 fucking clips of the other guy to get to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, so anyway, there was two other writers from that I knew, Carla Felicia, who was from Chicago, and Mark Gross, who was from Chicago for a little while. And when it got down, it literally got down to filming the episode, and they still hadn't decided on a name. And then my friends were like, use Vince's name, we'll get a kick out of it. So I got all these texts and emails, making sure you watch Mike and Molly tonight. All right, guys, I'll fucking watch Mike and Molly. All right. And then so the way they introduced the character, Melissa McCarthy opens the door, and there's that little guy there, and he goes, "My name's Maranto, Vincent Maranto. Is your mom here?" And I'm like, I'm pretty sure this is why they wanted me to watch it. If there's another reason than this, then I don't know what it is. But yeah, that's kind of a cool story. But like I said, there's plus and minuses. The plus is that it makes a good story. The minuses is that you got to go through.
Yeah, for sure. So you started at the Comedy Cottage, and then how long did it take before you got like your first like
out of state?
When did you, or not even out of state, just
Sure.
like your big break? Like when did you kind of know like, oh shit, this is actually happening? Like this is my. I mean, obviously, you said you were living off the interest or whatever for the
right. And hey, don't forget my $2 a show.
And your $2 a show. So when did you like know that like, oh, this is a thing? This is going to be a thing.
Well, you know, it's so funny. I always say, when I started, let me give this 6 months and see how it works out. And still to this day, I'm like, all right, let me give it 6 more. It's been 42 years. Let's see 42 and a half.
Yeah.
How then that ends up. But anyway, what it was I would do the Comedy Cottage, and then there was the Comedy Womb. And if you timed it out right, you could do, because they had 3 shows each place.
Yeah.
You could do a set in Rosemont, drive 1,000 miles an hour to get to Lions, which is the Comedy Womb was. Do your set, drive 1,000 miles an hour back. So you would do like 5 shows in the night, and that would get you like, 2, 4, 6. Well, they were 5, so 10. So that'd be like $16 to go back and forth, and forth. Then there was another Comedy Cottage that they had. They opened up in Maryville, Indiana, which was it ended up being Wisecrackers and a bunch of other different things right in the Holiday Star Theater. And what you could do is you could go to Maryville and open the show at 9, drive 1,000 miles an hour, and come back and close the show in Rosemont.
That's cool.
And that was like that paid like $20 or something to do that.
Okay. Yeah, see, that's what we're doing now. Well, I mean, open mics though, so we're not making the $2 a show, but like still. So I get what you're saying. It's like the timing it out. Like that's how, especially living up here, we have to time everything.
Yeah,
out. Like,
right.
We gotta fucking map it out. All right, there's a 6 o'clock mic, an 8 o'clock mic. We got to go to the 8 o'clock mic. This one you got to sign up at 7:15. Then you got to sign up at 7:15. Run over there for a half hour later to sign up for that one. Then go back. Yeah. So I get it. So yeah, that's.
So anyway, yeah. So I was doing the Cottage and the Womb back and forth, and then I started picking up a couple other spots like that Who's On First I told you about, and then my first out of town thing was a guy that Joe Dunkel, who just passed away. He had a thing up in Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Okay.
It was Thursday, Friday, Saturday. It was above a hockey rink.
Oh shit!
And so games would be playing. So you'd be on stage, and it would be like exactly. It's like so. Then the guy turns to me and there you go. Exactly. That's what it'd be like.
I was waiting for it. Nice.
All right. So anyway, that was my first out of town thing. I opened up for Larry Reeb, Uncle Larry. I don't know if you've ever heard of him. Larry Reeb. That's a guy who's been around forever, and. So I opened up for him, and that was my first out-of-town thing, was that Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And then, because I actually, what I did one time was, I've kept every calendar from 1982, and I started writing out all the different places that I worked for the very first time.
Okay.
And I got that all typed up.
That's fucking awesome.
Stopped doing it a few years ago. I got to redo it because I was up to, I think, 650 different stages. Yeah,
wow.
Stages that I've been on. And
holy shit!
Yeah, and I only have for the very first time that I did it.
Okay,
because
right.
Because there was a long time ago that I
excuse me
that I
Do you do like the big rooms and small rooms of a certain place, or is it just a certain place?
Just certain place.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
and
still a lot.
Yeah, and but I mean, a lot of it is stuff like Billy Long's thing that I did do. But there's a lot of them though. I even forgot how many Funny Bones I used to work for. I used to work for the Funny Bone all the time.
Okay.
And they had, to give an idea how many rooms they had, when I sold my house, 5-6 years ago, 7 years ago, something like that. And I lived in that house for 22 years. So the amount of shit that you accumulate. So I had one cabinet that was all glasses, and way in the back, I saw these Funny Bone glasses that had all the clubs listed on it. And there was one glass that had 15 Funny Bones listed on it, and there's still, out of all those 15 rooms, only one is still around.
Wow.
The original one in St. Louis.
That's a damn shame. I really wish that comedy. I mean, I know comedy's making a big comeback now, and like I know clubs are starting to open up in the suburbs a little bit more. But it just seems like, the 80s and 90s, that was just like comedy was it.
Yeah, well, it was good and bad. It was like anybody, you got 2 minutes, good, you could host. You got 10 minutes, great, you could feature. You got 20 minutes, you could headline. No, you can't. Any of those.
Right.
So there was a lot of that going on too. But there was plenty of work. And like I said, a lot of clubs were Tuesday through Sunday. Like when I would work those Funny Bones, I would work, say if I worked, Cincinnati or something, Tuesday through Sunday. I'd come home on Monday. My clothes would go from the bag to the washer to the dryer, back to the bag, because on Tuesday I'm taking off to Kansas City or something like that. Yeah. So there was a real lot of that.
So going through you've seen it all, like with how entertainment has gone from like, the no internet age to now like social media. Do you think that social media is like, you think it's good for comedy?
Boy, you know what? That's hard. It's good for the
comedian themselves, I think, for sure.
For the comedian themselves, right? And for the owners, because there's a lot of like a lot of these TikTok people, they bring in a lot of, but they're not comics. They don't.
Right. And people are getting headlining like clubs off of just from TikTok, and they've never done stand up, and it's like
because
it's wild.
Because I did a couple of there's a couple of shows I did where because what I do for the Improv is I feature for them. And if, say, the headliner doesn't want to do the late show Friday, then I'll headline that one. Or if he doesn't want to headline Sunday, I'll do that one. Okay. I do a lot of, which I'm grateful for them for giving me all that. But I've come in and followed those TikTok guys and women, and it's like the audience. It's like, oh yeah, this is we're seeing this person live. Then 20 minutes into it, it's like, is this it?
Yeah.
They really have nothing.
Right.
Really have nothing to offer. But, the club got its money and that person got paid. So it's good and bad is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I agree with that for sure. I mean, I just think for especially like, the majority of people posting clips that are like established comedians are posting crowd work stuff, which is great. But like people that like, especially now, like after, the last couple of years, there's been a pretty big boom with comedy on social media. And I just think that all the new comedy fans, like especially with like Matt Rife, right? Like everybody thinks that that's what a comedy show is. Yep. So like you get to a show and like he was talking about it on podcasts where like he would get to a show and people would just start talking to him. He's like, no, that's not how comedy works. So it's like, I feel like it's a great thing for the comedian to get their name out there, but it's just as far as the audience, it can just like.
Well, I understand the crowd work thing because you don't want to
spoil your material.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Burn your stuff. So I could understand that. And because there's a couple clips that I've used of myself from of crowd work just to throw those things out there. But but that is what a lot of people think. They think, well, what's this guy just talking to us? Because I found too, now the Zanies in downtown Chicago, the original one, that sometimes I have a tougher time there because it's a real young crowd.
Yeah.
And it seems like I'll start doing my stuff and it's just getting so response. And then I'll say something and then start talking to somebody and then, then they're with me. And then it's like, okay, then I go and do my stuff. And that lasts for about maybe 7 or 8 minutes. Then I start to lose them again. Yeah. And then I got to talk to them for a minute. Okay. Yeah, and then they're back with it.
I think it's just that Gen Z generation that is like, hey, I'm here. Talk to me. And I think that's, that makes a lot of sense as far as like, especially like watching a little bit of the, of your acts, just like your style is like very classic. It's a very classic style as opposed to like, I mean, it's joke, set up, punchline, joke, set up, punchline, move on. Yeah, exactly. And then like, so yeah, I could totally understand like, you know, comedy nowadays is like, you know, a comedian interacting with the crowd every other fucking joke. And it's just like, it's different. So like, also if social media existed back in the 80s, do you think you would have used it the way they're using it now? Or do you think you would, or
probably, I guess, right?
Yeah, I guess it's a dumb question. That's pretty obvious. I think I would say I don't know. Do you think it would have changed anything? Do you think you would have gotten more opportunities, or
I think I probably would have got less work because the people that have the most clicks are the people that are getting all the work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Instead of, you know, because I got a lot of my work just from like what
word
you
of
do,
mouth, pretty much.
Exactly. Yeah. Like if I went to a club for the first time and did well, and it's like, hey, you know, there's a couple other guys in Chicago that you should check these guys out. Let me give you their number and stuff like that. I think they do a good job for you. And they're okay, fine. You know, you did a good job, so obviously you're not going to lie to me. And so I got a lot of work that way, and I don't think you're really getting it that way anymore. Well, as a matter of fact, I know you're not getting it that way anymore.
Right? Yeah. Now you have to like. I mean, the majority of the shows I've done has just been from submitting a 5-minute clip. That's how I've gotten booked for the most part. And then like, I've had a couple now where it's like word of mouth from producer to producer, like saying, "Hey, this guy does well." You know, I've gotten a couple now. Now that I'm getting to that 2-year mark, I'm getting those more consistently. So that's pretty cool. But like, yeah, I just the word of mouth that means more to me than somebody submitting a good clip. If somebody's gonna vote, like, you know, especially like somebody that's an established producer, if they're like, "Hey, this guy's good," and then I've had a comedian tell me like recently, like they had somebody vouch for them and they still asked them for a clip. It's like, what the fuck's the point of the vouch then? Like, you don't trust the person that put the word in. You know what I mean? It's like, obviously, if that, I don't know. It's just a weird.
We used to have to send out. Well, the good part now is I used to have to mail out VHS tapes to people.
I was going to ask you, that next.
And now it's just I want to see something, and then you send them a link to your YouTube thing. And, you know, that's.
Did you ever record an album by chance?
Oh yeah, I did a few CDs. Boy, that's what I miss. I miss selling CDs. Because
I'll buy some CDs from you, dude. Literally, I love watching old just classic comedy. I love listening to it too. I used to listen to, you know, I'm 31, so I grew up right when like the iPods were coming out and stuff, and like that's how I got introduced to comedy, was not watching special. I mean, I'd watch like Comedy Central Presents and stuff, but like most of it was just downloading comedy albums. So like, yeah, I love. My buddy actually just he lives in Colorado. He went to a record store and he just bought me a George Carlin vinyl. So I'm really excited about that.
Oh, used to see, because when I moved out of my house, I had a storage unit, and I just got rid of the storage unit, but I kept all my albums, and I think I have like 30 some comedy albums. Because what I would always do is you go to, I couldn't pass a Goodwill without looking through the record section, and that's where I picked up a lot of, that's stuff that I had originally. And then there's stuff that I got at Goodwill and stuff like that. But yeah, all those George Carlin. I remember one thing that was really cool. In high school, me and my friends would drive around, get stoned, and listen to Cheech and Chong. And there was I got to work with Tommy Chong a couple times.
That's fucking
awesome. The first time I worked with him, and he's very approachable, very nice. His wife, very, very nice people, and because the first time, you want to get high? And I hadn't got high in a long time. And I'm like, well, the last thing I'm going to do before a show is get high with him. I'm like, God knows what he's packing. You know what I mean? I haven't smoked in years, and I'm going to go full Tommy Chong.
That's fucking...
Yeah, why don't we invite Snoop in while we're at it, too, and see what we could do. But anyway, in between shows, then I gave him a couple lines. I go, hey, just a suggestion. Yeah, I'll try it. And he went up on stage and actually did them, and they got laughs. And I'm like, "Goy, if you told me when I was driving around in high school, getting high, listening to Cheech and Chong, that I would meet Tommy Chong, give him some lines, and he would do them on stage."
That's fucking awesome. That is amazing.
My favorite one of that is I work with Norm.
Wow.
I used to house MC for Zanies, so I worked with just about anybody you can think of. As a matter of fact, I put on Facebook, I had pictures of me and all the different SNL people that I worked with over the years for their 50th anniversary.
Yeah.
And I was even amazed at how many people that I worked with. But my favorite, I worked with Norm MacDonald like I don't know how many times.
That's so cool, man.
I'll tell you the thing about Norm too. There's Norm MacDonald, Colin Quinn, Jimmy Schubert, These are guys, you meet them, within 2 minutes, you feel like you've known them since high school. Yeah. They're very, that's how they come across you. But Norm, the first time I met him was at Vernon Hills Zanies. Have you ever been there?
No, okay. Because it was down about like 10 years ago, right?
Yeah, it was a huge room that I think they could cram maybe 450 in there if they really tried.
Oh, wow.
But there was 2 double doors to go into the kitchen and to go out of the kitchen. They had a full kitchen and everything there too. And I would always sit by the double doors and try to figure out my set. So I'm doing that, and Norm comes out. I'm like, hey, how you doing? I go, I'm Vince, I'm the host. So Norm's out there talking. This is before the show. And people are coming up to Norm, hey, can we get a selfie? Yeah, no problem. I'm like, a lot of guys don't even do this shit after show. This is before his set. He's just hanging out, where the audience could see him and everything like that. But so I got to work with him a bunch of different times, which was really cool. But the one thing I'll never forget is I'm getting ready. I was hosting in St. Charles, and right before they're introducing me, Norm comes over, he goes, hey, do me a favor, do that Arthur Treacher's bit that you do. That cracks me up. Will you do that? And I go, yeah, okay. So
great impression. That's a great Norm.
Oh, was
impression.
it?
No, that was great.
You know what? I only do impressions if I'm not thinking of it. Like if you said do Norm MacDonald now, okay, yeah, Norm MacDonald. You know what I mean? If I don't think
that was fucking spot on.
If I don't think about it,
yeah.
So and then right as they're introducing me, I'm like, oh fuck, Norm MacDonald just requested a bit for me. How cool is this? This is awesome. And I was all excited. I went up on stage and I forgot to do the bit.
Oh, no.
Then as I'm getting off stage, like, oh, fuck, I hope he wasn't listening. I'm like, the guy's cool enough to ask for something, then I screw it up.
God, that is insane. Norm MacDonald, man. Rest in peace. That guy was I'm a huge Norm MacDonald fan. I loved his delivery. That 9/11 joke that he tells to Nick Swardson.
Oh, yeah.
About? Just as... we actually talked about it yesterday with our guests yesterday. I'm not going to butcher it. Never mind. But no, I just love. Yeah, Norm MacDonald's great, man. That's so cool.
Yeah, did something happen on that date?
Yeah. Who are some other big names
that I've worked with?
Yeah.
Oh boy. All right, let's go with the old guys first because David Brenner, Robert Klein, Met Carlin didn't get a chance to work with him. Met Kinnison didn't get a chance to work with him.
How'd you like? Oh, you met him?
Who? Which one?
Kinnison.
Yeah.
How was he?
Outside the Comedy Store. Just a regular guy. Just, most of the, it's so funny. Me and, there was a real young comic that asked me and Larry Reeb, who's been doing it like 5 years longer than me, like, who are the real jerks that we work with? And this is 2 guys with over 40 years experience. I think we came up with maybe 4 or 5 names. And if you think about it, all the comics, all those years, there's really only 4 or 5 people that are pricks. That's kind of cool. Yeah. See, there's a lot of guys that are very quiet and kind of aloof, but I don't consider, because they're shy. There's a lot of real shy people in comedy. People can't understand that. For myself too, if someone had said this, and I always used it too. They go, do you get nervous when you get on stage? I'm like, no, I get nervous when I get off stage. And it was true because I was sitting in a room with 3 or 4 people that I didn't know, I could never do that. No. I could never do that. And after going up on stage for so long, that coming down and 3 or 4 people didn't get as anxious, if that makes any sense at all. Yeah.
See, I'm the exact opposite. I feel so much better once I'm off stage. I'm
just so much was taken. Huh? Like a big dump was taken?
Pretty much. Well, so I've had not so much anymore, but when I first started doing it, I wear an Apple Watch most of the time, and I've had an alert go off saying that my heart rate is like over 120.
Oh, really?
And it's like calm down, and I'm like, this was when I first started, and like I would get up there, and once I tell the first joke, I'm fine. But yeah, that's so, and I don't know, I consider myself somewhat of a shy person, but once I have a couple drinks, I'm pretty good. But then I get a little awkward. I don't know, for some reason when I'm talking to somebody new and I'm like drinking, I like just start oversharing. I was telling Jack the other day, I just start oversharing shit that I should, like, I don't know. So I get really awkward, and then after I do that, then I'm like, oh fuck, now I got to be quiet again. And now I get really awkward and really shy. So like, but once I start, once I get to know somebody, then I'm a lot less weird, I should say. I don't know. I'm always weird as fuck though. But
nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. So what's the biggest stage you've been on? Like most audience, I should say.
I opened for Stephen Wright at the Holiday Star Theater. Wow. I think that was 1,500 people. His boy, I'll tell you, Stephen Wright. They because I go there and I go, how much you want from me? And the guy goes, about 30 minutes. I go, let's talk to his management. Yeah. I go, they go, why? I go, he ain't gonna be happy with some guy he don't know doing a half hour in front of him. So his he comes back with the manager and he goes, what's the problem? I go, well, they want me to do a half hour. You want me to do a half hour? I'll do it. He's like, no. Do like maybe 15 minutes. I go, okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
So it was cool because his crowd was so smart that like 5 minutes into my set, I started thinking, what shit that doesn't work in like clubs? And I threw out a couple of those lines and it got like, one got an applause break. I'm like, Jesus, this is cool. A theater with an audience that paid money and, this is a cool thing. So anyway, I got done and here, let me tell you this and then I'll wrap the thing up. So I get off stage and his manager goes, hey, Steven wants to talk to you. So I'm like, God, I hope it's good. And he's just playing guitar. It's like, hey, you got some really big laughs out there. I go, thanks. Are you gonna hang around? I go, no, I got to go back to the club to do the late show. All right. Nice to meet you. I'm like, okay. So anyway, here I just open up for 1,500 people. Stephen Wright liked me. The audience, I got applause breaks. I race all the way back to the Funny Bone in Naperville to do the late show for like 17 people. And 9 of them at that time, they let people in that were 18 and older. So like 9 of them were 18-year-olds with just cokes, just staring at me like I'm a fucking moron. So like my exciting show business lasted as long as the car ride back.
So you say that's just professionalism right there. Like you saw what was working and you just like, you probably had a plan going up on stage and then you just completely changed it.
Because I'm like, boy, this crowd is so smart. And I'm thinking, well, yeah, it's Stephen Wright. They're not going to be morons.
How many years were you into it at that point?
Who did I, boy, I can't even remember.
You had a bunch of material is basically what I'm saying.
Yeah.
At that point, opening for Stephen Wright, you had to have been at least.
I was headlining at the time.
Oh yeah.
So I had like 50 minutes at least.
Okay.
But this was more of like a challenge. Like, if they really like that, let's see if they like this thing. And then it's kind of like a proof to yourself that this shit is funny. And if you got a good crowd in front of you, instead of like drunk morons, you got like people thinking that
right.
Yeah, the fight for the attention.
Yeah. It's like, wow, okay, good. I can write some good stuff,
Yeah, and that's I feel like that's also really like tough spot for newer comics nowadays too. Is like the open mic situation is like you're performing and the majority of the time it's in front of other comics, and sometimes comics don't want to laugh at each other. So it's really hard to get a reaction from comics. Like, because I had a joke that I just introduced into my 10-minute set, and I told it at 2 open mics, and it got decent enough laughs that I'm like, okay, I know that this will work in front of real people. And it sure as shit, it killed in front of real people. I was like, okay, cool. But I only told that joke like twice before. And it's like it's just so, I don't know. Was there a lot of open mics back then? Like when you were, or were you just doing those regular, like you had to get a regular spot at a club to do stuff like for the $2 or $5? Like, is that the way you did it back then?
Yeah, that's the way I did it. There wasn't really
like an open mic setting type of deal.
Every once in a while there'd be an open mic here or there that I would do.
So you're trying out new material at your shows and shit, pretty much.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So that's what I thought comedy was when I started. That's why I didn't like, I always wanted to do it, but I just didn't know how to approach it. I didn't know that there was open mics. I'm like, you just go and just try it somewhere. And then I found out that there was open mics, but I'm like, I knew that, I had a feeling that back in the day, it was just shows and.
Well, the way it always was if you had a brand new line, it was always sandwich it between 2 lines that work for sure. So that way you got a good lead in going into it. And if it eats it, then you got an out. Get out of without losing them.
Yeah, that's kind of how I approach telling new jokes in my open mic sets. You just I know something works here, I'll put it right in the middle, and then just kind of that's
like now what I do is if I have something, I'll scatter them around so that I have like something to look forward to. It's like, all right, let me go. All right. This stuff works. I know it works, so let's do that. But I want to try this thing out. And like that.
Has anyone ever gotten mad with your material? You had to like kick them out?
I'm like very likable. Like sometimes I'll like watch a tape or see. I'm like, fuck, I can't believe I got away with saying that. But because I'm such a smiley idiot, I think a lot of times Because there's a way to say stuff and be a prick, and there's a way to say stuff where people laugh along.
Absolutely, yeah.
With you.
Your aura is everything for sure.
I was trying to think. I've had people get kicked out, but it wasn't because of me. It was like they were loud through the whole show anyway, and by the time they got to me, everybody had it with them.
Right.
So they cleared them out. But I remember one woman though coming up to me. I was hosting. It was at the Rosemont. There was maybe 40 people there. It was a real small, like a third Wednesday night or something like that. And anybody, anybody celebrating anything, the old MC thing. And the girl goes, yeah, he just got accepted into college. Oh, I go, what do you get to study? He goes, radiology. I'm like, cool. I go, where'd you get accepted? It was like College of DuPage or something like that. I go, wow, I go, yeah, I know. You need like a pen to get into it. Something like that. So anyway, it was just jokes about the College of DuPage.
Yeah.
Right? This woman comes up to me after the show. I didn't appreciate what you did up there. I go, I don't know what I did. She goes, see this scar? A radiologist saved my life. I go, yeah. She goes, and you were making fun of the radiologist. I go, no, I was making fun of College of DuPage.
Yeah.
You have no right to make fun of people that are saving people's lives. I'm like, no, it was the college that I was making fun of. Yeah. She's like, no, you don't get it. And then no, you don't fucking get it. It's a joke about the College of DuPage. It's got nothing. The guy could have said firefighter, could have said anything in the world. I would still make fun of College of DuPage. Well, you just don't get it.
Yeah, you could have been like, well, listen, lady, at least the radiologist that saved you didn't go to College of DuPage. Come on. Like,
I wish I would have thought of that.
But yeah, no, I'm getting to the point now where I've had a decent amount of shows to where I've had people interact with me like after a joke, not me interacting with them, just their reaction to a joke. Uh-huh. Middle of the show, I've talked about it a few times now. It was like a couple months ago. I had a show. I had a joke about suicide, and it was about me gaining weight. And the lady was like, I'm not laughing at suicide. I'm like, it's not about the suicide. It's about me being fat. You laugh at that. That's funny. And she's like, okay. And then I was like, it was just a really weird thing. I've never, like, I'm sure you've had that happen. Have you had that happen? Like, just people just stop you in the middle of your set and they're like, hey, wait a second. Like, just hecklers, I guess.
Ricky Gervais said one of the greatest things. He goes, and I want to make sure I get this right. He goes, the problem with audiences these days is they mistake the target for the subject. You know what I mean? So, in other words, if I'm making fun of Hitler, I'm making fun of what he stood for. I'm not making fun of the Holocaust. You know what I mean? They're not, it's like a trigger word. Hitler, this has got to be, this can't be funny. He hates Jews. No, what the fuck are you talking about? I didn't say anything like that. But I'm trying to think of I think I was, I remember I remember somebody yelling that one time. And I forgot.
That's like the most annoying thing to yell too. Like of all the things,
no, that's not it.
But I can't remember what it was for or what happened with it. But yeah, every once in a while you'll get that, and it's usually people they're not, especially you get people like this that are, with their friends.
Yeah.
Wait, what did he say?
Yeah.
No, you should have listened to the whole thing. Don't just take it out of context like that.
Yeah, that, and then also probably too, most of the people that are getting offended, it probably has nothing to do with them at all.
Oh, well,
most of Karens nowadays.
Yeah, exactly. Because I've had people, something I did about a car or something like that one time, and my brother got killed in a car crash 2 years ago. What? This guy, no, I don't know your brother. I didn't make fun of car crashes. What? How'd you connect? The way you connected those, that's your problem, not mine.
Yeah. Oh man, Jack, you are very quiet over there.
Sorry.
You have any questions? I know you said you had a lot of questions.
What was that? What was that sound effect? Anyway?
Chimes.
I like my question about like the heckler thing. But I was going to ask, like, it was like a targeted joke with the whole people getting mad about the targeted group. But you kind of explained that for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The thing too, though, if you watch my set, I don't shut the fuck up. So I don't give you a chance to heckle. You know what I mean? There's really no chance. Yeah. If you keep boom, 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 the guys that get heckled are guys that if they have long pauses, there are people in the audience saying, whoa, somebody's got to fill this silence. Right. Might as well be me.
Yeah. Another person I wanted to ask if you've worked with is one of my idols is Mitch Hedberg. Have you ever worked with him?
Yeah, you know what? I listen to this shit. I worked with Mitch.
Yes.
I worked with Mitch Hedberg on Friday and Saturday downtown Zanies, and he died that Monday.
Whoa.
Yeah, I worked with him that closely.
Holy shit.
Yeah, because I was like, and it's one of those too. It's like, no, he can't be dead. I just saw him.
Yeah.
You know, one of those where you can't. Your mind goes that can't be possible. I just work with him.
That is crazy.
Yeah, he was. I worked with him a couple times. I worked with him in Vernon Hills. It was the time downtown.
He's probably really. He was probably really shy, right? One of those shy guys. He acts like it on stage at least.
Yeah, well, he would because I go, you sell anything? Yeah, I have these CDs. I go, do you want me to mention it? He goes, nah, it's okay. And then he didn't even mention it. Then the next show, hey, you didn't mention your CDs. You want me to do it? Yeah, I don't know. I'm like, when you got these, they're not going to sell themselves.
He was something else, man. Like that style of just one-liner is just, it's the creativity is just insane to me. Like that one, the joke he's got about the rice, where he's like, rice is great when you're really hungry, you want 2,000 or something. It's just so stupid. It's so stupid, but it's so fucking funny. I love Mitch Hedberg.
Well, I heard that story where he would chug like a whole eighth of fucking vodka before he went on stage so he could feel it on stage.
Really? Was he? I mean, I know he was a big drinker, and then heroin is what got him, right? Yeah. So was he?
He kind of kept to himself, so I didn't really see him much before the show or during the show or anything like that.
But after the show, I'll be curious, like, how does he hold up after?
Well, at that point in my career, is when the show is over, I just get the fuck out of there and go home.
Right? Yeah, it's just a normal night for you.
Yeah. And but yeah, he was funny. But he was a guy that would just throw something out there in the middle of his show and go, "All right, that's stupid," and just go, or he'd be halfway through a bit and go, "This ain't going anywhere. Forget it. Never mind."
Yeah, it's just like it's sad watching someone like that. You know, just because like I watched. You know, if you watch an early clip of him, just like his just general like energy was just a little bit. I mean, his energy was never really high, but it was way higher than it was in the beginning than the end. You know what I mean? Right. And it's just like you could totally see. Then he started definitely always wearing sunglasses, looking down the entire time, and it's just like I don't know. I gotta stop picking that vape up. Don't even worry about it. I don't need nicotine. Second time that's happened now. But no, I love the how everything is so funny, even though he delivers it so shy and awkward. You know, it's just I love the way that he just everything he wrote, no matter how he said it, was pretty fucking funny. No matter what he said, just his delivery was
that odd angle at it.
Yeah, it's just I don't know. I have a Mitch Hedberg joke style of joke that I wrote. I want to tell you it if you tell me what you think.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, all right. I like deep fried chicken. You like deep fried chicken?
Mm-hmm.
I also like fried chicken. I don't think that the depth has anything to do with the flavor.
Okay, that's good. That's good. Yeah.
Sorry, I fucking stumbled on the depth. But yeah,
the crickets love it. Buddy had it.
So I have a couple dad jokes in my routine because I'm a young dad, and I'll throw that one in there every once in a while, depending on how the first dad joke gets. Like if it gets good reactions, then I'll be like, all right, I'll throw that joke in there because it seems to get good reactions because it's somewhat of a dad style joke, I guess.
It's funny because there's a joke that I do that. All right, I'll tell you the joke, then I'll tell you what I want to say about. There's I was talking about. I don't. God, if I do my act out of sequence, I can't do it. You would think after all these years. Anyway, the other day I was in the 7-Eleven. I saw this guy totally stoned out of his mind. He was getting Swedish fish and beef jerky. I'm like, oh, a little stoner surf and turf. And it's so funny. As a matter of fact, when I worked with Colin Jost,
really good joke.
When I worked with Colin Jost, God,
who haven't you worked with, man? This is insane. I love Colin Jost.
He left me a note that said, "Hey Vince, great working with you, stoner surf and turf." But when I do that, like downtown with the younger crowd, it'll be dad joke. I'm like, yeah, if your dad's fucking George Carlin, that's a dad's joke. Yeah. I'm like, what are you talking? So that always intrigued me.
When does it become a dad joke?
Yeah. I thought that was a clever line.
Yeah,
you know?
It's just too clever.
I think that's what the whole dad joke thing is. Because Mitch Hedberg, for example, would be considered a one-liner comedian, right? Pretty much. But I guess the cornier they get, the corny aspect is the dad part, I think. So like when a joke is just corny as shit.
Yeah.
That's the dad part. But Swedish Fish and beef jerky, Stoner Surf and Turf is not corny. That's hilarious.
See, that's what it always intrigues me, why they always, because there's times when I'm coming up to them like, should I even do this in front of this crowd? And I do it anyway. And sometimes it gets a laugh, sometimes. But in regular, that goes from a bit that could go from applause break to dad joke. You know what I mean? So it's so weird. The range on the same exact exact line.
It's probably a bigger range, though. Different when you get to those younger crowds, though, that real young crowd, like at Zany's, for instance, like you're saying. Nowadays, it's more of a younger crowd, as opposed to if you were to telling that joke in front of 40-year-olds. Sure, you're gonna get a different response. But like, what's your favorite type of crowd? Like, do you want like a mix of everything, or do you want like older crowd or a younger, or just does it matter to you? I mean, I'm sure you can, after 43 years, you can cater to anything.
Right. I prefer an older crowd that paid a decent cover, and are committed to it. You know what I mean?
Respectful.
Yeah, right. That came to listen. Let's put it that way.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
But wait, what the hell was I just going to say? All right, go ahead. Never mind.
I've learned so far that I like a anywhere from my age, 30 and up, is pretty much. I don't like performing for the Gen Z because I got 2 kids and a lot of my material is storytelling about being a dad.
Sure.
And everybody that's in their 40s and 50s already went through that, so they're like, right. Oh, this fucking guy's going through hell right now. I relate to this, so I've been seeming to relate to the older crowd for the most part, but the younger crowd still laughs at it too, but it's just, I don't know. It's
it's funny because I changed the way I dress on stage. I used to always wear a sport coat. It was always a sport coat. And then especially when I would house MC downtown, I'd have to lose the sport coat for the late shows because they're, what's this guy, what's this guy dressing up for?
Yeah.
And then from that, I just went to just not wearing a sport coat ever at all. And I started, like my hair, you can see my beard. I'm looking in the monitor that it's getting. I'm gonna have to dye it again, but I have to dye my hair and my beard because otherwise, when I go up there, I don't know who's this old guy.
Yeah.
So, but so appearances. But that's the only people that it bothers. It's like, well, my one friend said, he goes, you go up there if it's a younger crowd, you're their dad, you're their dad's friends, and their dad and their dad's friends aren't funny.
Yeah,
So.
See, I loved the old classic suit on stage. I just think it's very funny when
the Doug Stanhope suit or like a
Jerry Seinfeld, just a suit on stage. It just I just thought that was always hilarious. A dude in a fucking suit and tie making you laugh.
Yeah,
that's just
like Steve Martin had the whole white thing and then was just an idiot.
It's just like that's that for some reason dressing nice and then being belligerent to some extent, is just hilarious to me. And I don't know if I would ever I thought about it what am I whenever I get to that point, am I going to just wear my normal shit, or I've actually thoroughly thought about wearing a suit just because it's I like to respect tradition,
right.
And that was a thing. And I don't know, what's your thought on that? Do you you said you ditched the sport, do you no sport coat anymore?
No, as a matter of fact, I look at old pictures when I used to house MC. It was shirt and tie and everything, in sport coat and everything, or suit. And now it's basically. Now I wear, I got black Skechers, blue jeans, and black, sweatery, whatever you want to call it, and that's it. That's
gotcha.
My thing, yeah.
Yeah, so Ron White. So Ron White's one of my favorite comedians. I think it's hilarious that he didn't always wear a suit, or didn't always wear a tie, but he'd have, sport coat with the, nice looking nice, but he's fucking hammered drunk, smoking a cigar,
right.
Looking like he's showing up to a goddamn wedding, and then he's just making you laugh your ass off.
Ron White.
I love Ron White. I remember. So I
worked with him 1,000 times.
Oh, God damn. I'm that. So we always ask comedians what their Mount Rushmore is, their top 4 comedians.
Oh boy, this is hard.
And he's Ron White, Mitch Hedberg, Shane Gillis, and
Dave Chappelle.
Kevin Hart for me, but those are my 4. And I all
right, if I had to pick 4, George Carlin for sure. Boy, it's really hard. I'm excluding all my Chicago comedian friends because some of the funniest people I know are just comics that nobody else knows, and I'm sure with you guys too.
Yeah.
I'd have to think about Carlin. Well, the usual thing is Carlin, Pryor. I don't know. I don't know if I could pick 4. Probably. I think one of the funniest people in the world is Martin Short.
Yeah.
Not necessarily a stand-up, but that Martin Short is one of those guys. There's certain people that I look at them and I start to laugh. I just know the guy's going to say something funny. I don't know if I could pick 4.
No. Well, that's. I mean, that's a little bit more difficult for.
You can't leave till you do.
I thought I can't leave until a certain amount of items are kept under the table because I have a bottle cap and a vape.
Bottle cap, a vape. Next is coming a pen, probably.
When I actually see a light, I'll know that I got 2 minutes left when an actual flashlight rolls down.
Speaking of that, where are we on time, Jack?
55.
Well, I could keep talking to you all day with all these stories.
Oh, I don't care. What do you usually run on?
An hour.
Hour and a half.
Okay.
Yeah, anywhere between there. It also depends on what the guest wants to do. If you got somewhere to be, tell me to shut the fuck up.
No, I got some more time.
Cool. So Ron White, man, what is...
So anyway, Ron White, I remember... Ron Watt. He was, I remember,
A Little Unprofessional is one of my favorite specials of all time.
Well, I remember one bit he used to do. He would just go up on stage. This was like in Texas or somewhere when I worked on. You have a stage and ladies and gentlemen, Ron White. Sure, a lot more queers around these days, aren't there? I mean, they ain't like they're reproducing. Okay, good opening line.
Yeah. And it's like, when do you think that you have to be headlining to say something like that? Like nobody's going to get I don't know. I feel like when do you get to the point where you can just say off the wall shit like that?
Well, when people come to see you,
they expect something that you do something unexpected.
Yeah, I guess.
When I've worked, done a couple weeks at the Brad Garrett's at the MGM Grand in Las Vegas, and I went in a day early one time to see him because I'd never seen him perform, and the shit he says, it's all crowd work. Mm-hmm. The shit he says to people, like a friend of mine was there, another comedian. We were watching together, and my friend, after 5 minutes, leans over and goes, "Can you imagine trying to pull off any of this shit if you weren't famous?" I'm like, no, not in a million years.
So so that's my thing. Like it does matter how like you can't just be some fucking random feature that nobody really knows yet, right, saying off the wall shit.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's
you got to kind of build towards having an audience that'll. It's funny. I keep feeling like I'm name dropping, but a long time ago, I worked with Bill Burr before anybody knew who he was, and he was headlining. It was at Zanies in St. Charles, and I never saw this guy before. Never heard of him. I introduce him, and I go, "Let's see what this guy's got to say." Right. So I watch a couple minutes, watch a couple more. I sit down, watching more. Next thing I know, it's they go, "Okay, we just gave him the light." I'm like, "That was 40 minutes? I just sat through. This guy is fucking good." So he got off stage. I'm like, I got to tell you something. I've done this a long time. I don't ever watch anybody. I go, I really enjoyed your show. Oh, thanks a lot, man. Thanks a lot. There was just something. I just knew something was going to happen with this guy.
Yeah.
It was very, just very raw and very, hey, this is what I think. And I don't give a shit if you think the same way or not.
Yeah, Bill Burr is like one of my alternates with Kevin Hart on my top, on my Mount Rushmore. So yeah, that's so cool that you got to see him. Like, so that was basically, so he was just headlining clubs at that point. He wasn't like, he was just getting known pretty much.
Yeah,
that was cool to see it. Like, did he come back and headline when he was Bill Burr?
I don't think so. I think he was doing theaters then. Yeah. And if he did, maybe when he was really starting to hit, then maybe I didn't work with him that time. But he was one of those ones that who's this guy? Boy, I like what this guy's selling.
Yeah, I'm like almost starstruck. I feel like I've met them through you almost at this point. Like this is like I said, you are the most credited guest we've had on this show, like by far.
It's funny.
So it's like the fact that you've worked with like all of these people that both of us fucking love is just like, what the fuck? I knew you've been doing it for a while, but like thank you, Billy, for setting this up. Like I said, this is so cool. I keep going, please.
Yeah, I have a big about this big at home of pictures with comics that I work with, And then a bigger one of what I would do is I would take a picture with them. Then the next time I work with them, I just have them sign it. So I have a signed wall and an unsigned wall. And I wish we had these things. Yeah. He said, pointing to his cell phone. I wish they had these things back when I met Carlin and Kinnison and all those guys. You know what I mean? There's a lot of people that I work with that I just don't have pictures with that would be kind of cool. Because it's funny because I had them. I was working on them one time, moving them over, and my cousin and her son came over, and they go, "What are you doing?" And I just hear them from the other room. You know Tracy Morgan? You know, like all these pictures people that and Tracy Morgan. Let me tell you about him.
Fuck yes.
He's so cool. If you're just in the green room with him, just calm, nice guy, talking about whatever, just like But as soon as 3 or 4 people come in, Entertainment Tracy comes out. Oh, let me tell you. I
don't want to point it out because you might think about it, but that was another good. Another good one, yeah.
So I'm working with him at Vernon Hills the day after Thanksgiving, right? And so I go up there. It's packed. I go up there. There's a real good crowd. I bring up the feature. Andy Woodhull was the feature. I don't know if you know who Andy Woodhull is. Anyway, so I bring up Tracy, and so okay, I sit back. Let's see what this guy's got to say. He does about 3 or 4 minutes. Where my man Vinny at? Vinny, come on up here. He a fun motherfucker, ain't he? Come on, Vinny, come on up here. So I go up there. He goes, yeah, you tell him, Vinny. He hands me the mic and he takes off. This is after 5 minutes.
What the fuck?
I know. So I'm like, there was these people that I was playing with at the beginning of the show, and I'm like, so anyway, back to you. And and then after about 3 or 4 minutes, he comes back out stage, and ladies and gentlemen, once again, Tracy Morgan. So he comes on stage. He does maybe 10 minutes. Vinny, come on back up here. I'm like, what the fuck? So now they've seen me 5 times. So I'm not even going to try comedy at this point. I'm like, hey, we're open here Wednesday through Sunday. We got 2 shows Friday, 2 shows Saturday. Hey, got a bachelor party, birthday party. Talk to them. I'm doing every announcement I could possibly think of. Coming up next week, we got some. So then he finally comes back out, and then I go sit in the back again. And now I'm like, I got to pay attention to every word he's saying because if he comes off again, what am I going to follow?
Yeah.
So anyway, it turns out whoever he had Thanksgiving with, I guess they didn't cook the turkey long enough. So he had the shits.
Oh,
so he kept running off stage.
That's awful, but it's hilarious.
That's fucking hilarious.
It's so funny.
Like, what is this guy doing to me, man? What the fuck?
When I work with Jay Farrell from Saturday, when I work with Jay,
Jesus Christ,
I told him that story, and every night when he would come to the green room, Jay would go, "Where my man Vinny at? Where's Vinny at? Where my man Vinny at?"
God, I keep listening to people you've worked with. I feel like I'm just blown away by each person you've because I was expecting all the older names and stuff, and then you said Colin Jost. Now, who did you
Tracy
say?
Morgan.
Tracy Morgan, and then
I turned Michael Che onto.
Michael Che too. I'm like,
I turned him onto Portillo's Italian beef sandwiches.
There you go.
He goes, "What's something I would probably not have? Have you ever had an Italian beef sandwich at Portillo's?" He goes, "No, what's that?" So I told him what it was. I go, "Do you like hot stuff?" He goes, "Yeah." I go, "So get hot and sweet peppers." So the next day comes in, and I go, "Hey, how was it?" He goes, "Oh, I'm going there again. I'm going there again tomorrow."
Nice.
He goes, "Yeah." He loved that.
Are you upset with the quality of Portillo's nowadays?
I can't believe you said that because I hadn't gone in a while, and my girlfriend and I went, and I'm like, "What the fuck is this?"
It became a chain.
It's garbage.
Yeah. It's
I go. She goes, "Is there even seasoning on this thing?"
It sucks.
It was so small, and
The only thing that's decent still, in my opinion, is the cheeseburger.
I never had one. My son,
cheeseburgers are great.
My son loves those. He'll take that over the Italian beef or the hot dog anytime.
Nowadays, I will too. I used to always get a combo. That was always my thing: sausage and beef,
yeah,
and then sweet peppers and cheese. I'd always get that was my go-to thing. Now, if I'm going to get Italian beef, I go anywhere else than Portillo's. It's overpriced. It's just, ever since they went public, it's a bummer because that was that's a Chicago staple.
Yeah, he sold all those. He kept some of them, but he sold most of them.
Yeah, it's a bummer because it's that's anytime people would come in out of town and visit, I'm like, let's go get Portillo's.
Every time. My East Coast friends, when they would come into work, Chicago, I had one friend one time, had a 3-hour layover at O'Hare. Had to come pick him up so we could go to Portillo's so we could eat and then take him back to the airport.
Yeah, see, nowadays you just be like, I'd rather have fucking airport food over it at this point, which is sad. It's just sad. It sucks. I mean, it sucks when people sell out for, I mean, I'm sure
I'm thinking billions
of dollars. I don't blame him.
Right.
I don't blame him, but it just sucks. I wish they would have made sure that the quality stayed. You know, that would have been like, you know, I don't know. Hopefully, I know the Crystal Lake one is not bad. That's the best one out in the area.
That's the original one, right?
No. The original one is
the original one with the hot dog stand.
Yeah,
that little cart. You ever see the picture of that little cart? I love that thing.
Where was it though? Was it
Maywood?
Maywood, okay.
It's something like that, right?
I think I think the original first isn't like the first building in South Elgin, the first like actual
building itself.
That's what I'm thinking of.
No, I think you're right.
Yeah, I think that's the first, like off of Randall.
Yeah, I think that was the first. I think Maywood was where his cart was.
Where the cart was. Okay. But it's like that one I actually went to last year. That one's still pretty good. I just always get cheeseburgers now. It's like that. I used to never get anything but Italian beef or a combo, or Maxwell Street Polish is my go-to as well.
Yeah, I used to weigh a lot more, and I would always mine would be Italian beef, both peppers, and the hot dog loaded, fries, and a shake.
Yeah,
and just
well, I mean, that's got to be. I mean, especially with being a comedian, you're that's a lot of late nights. It's a lot of shit food mostly.
I mean, on the road, that was the thing. It would be like you drive, you'd get to the McDonald's, eat, check into the hotel, take a quick nap, take a shower, do your show. Brains. Yeah, exactly. On the way back from the show. Yeah, I had McDonald's earlier. Let's do Burger King for post show. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was all just garbage.
I bet. I mean, and then what? Were you a drinker back then too?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So you're drinking on. Yeah. That's the one thing I'm glad that I found out that I wanted to do comedy later, like after I got all my degeneracy, I don't even know if that's the right word, out of my debauchery out of my 20s, because I would have been fucking no way I would have made it. I would have been just. I probably would have tried it and then just got involved with drinking and drugs, and then boom, that's it. Yeah. So like, that's kind of. I mean, the road life. How is the road life?
Yeah, there's still time.
Sure, for sure. Yeah. Like, what is like life on the road? What's the longest you've been on the road for?
One time I did, back when I had my Camaro, my IROC,
I was going to ask what your first car was.
My 88. I don't know. My first car was a 74 Monte Carlo, but or was it 72? I don't know. Who cares? But I did. I think it was 8 weeks of Funny Bones. Let's count them. I did St. Louis. I'm trying to remember when. St. Louis, something in like Nashville, then I think New Orleans, then San Antonio, then Dallas, then Kansas City.
Jesus.
Yeah, it was just a big. No drive was more than like 8 hours.
Okay.
And that was all on what you would do too is you would at the condo these were all comedy condos.
Yeah.
I don't know if you heard of the comedy condo.
I have not.
Yeah. What it was they realized clubs realized, especially the Funny Bones, instead of paying for hotel rooms, 3 different hotel rooms, they would buy a condo, and then that way they had something to sell afterwards.
Right.
You know? So it was like an investment. So what it normally was the headliner got it was always the same kind of apartment, like a 2-bedroom apartment where the headliner got the bedroom that had the bathroom attached to it.
Yeah.
The feature act got the bedroom that had the bathroom in the hallway, and the host got the couch. It's basically how that went. What was the point of this? What was I going to do? Life on the road?
It was basically what the longest time on the road was.
Anyway, so what you would do too then is when you had all those in a row, you would see is the next guy coming in? Is there going to be a room still open to stay at this club for one extra day and then drive, or can I drive to the next club and get that room for that Monday? You know, so it was like so that you wouldn't have to pay for a hotel room.
Gotcha.
But yeah, that 8 weeks that was the longest that I ever done. And I remember thinking too, like that back then, this is so funny. I was thinking about this the other day. Back then, because I had just bought my condo in Schaumburg, and back then, what I had to do was I had to sign a bunch of checks written out to like gas and electric and all that stuff, and leave them there for when the bills came, my mom would put in the amount and mail it. And I had to Western Union the money to my bank account to have enough. I had to go, you know what I mean? It's just so, you do everything, do everything here.
Yeah.
You know, it's just amazed me all the shit that they had to go through. And it makes it seem like I'm 100 years old, you know, but that just shows.
Well, shit, even when I was growing up, stuff now that this stuff now, it's like ancient, you know?
Yeah.
It seems like, at least, like CDs. Fuck, when I bought my car, I bought my car in 2021. I was pissed. I'm like, where's the fucking CD player?
Oh, yeah.
I have a whole fucking book of CDs. What am I supposed to do with this?
Oh, you should see the amount of CDs that I have.
My dad had a fucking two thick ones.
That's
of
what I have.
like 4 CDs, double sided, each thing, like 100 pages, like probably two of them. Yeah. And I still have albums and cassettes and 8-tracks too. I have a pretty decent vinyl collection over there. My father-in-law, he collected it back in the day. He's 72. So I have like a bunch of like single copy radio station songs, like from, I don't know where the fuck he got them. I have the original release of REO Speedwagon 2. I got that on vinyl. Oh, cool. He's got Abbey Road, some for like original, first release Abbey Road somewhere. I haven't found that one yet, but I don't know. I don't know why did we get on vinyl there for a second? I just had a brain, CDs. I just had a brain fart. Yeah. Okay, that's what it was. Okay.
But yeah, it's there was a thing too that I miss the CD player in the car.
Yeah, me too. It was I feel like CDs just sounded so damn good.
What I would have to do too, because I would house MC for Zane. One time I house MC'd for Zanies for an entire year. I did 4 clubs 3 times. I would do like Mount Prospect, downtown, Vernon Hills, whatever, and then repeat the process again.
Okay.
It was so funny when I booked that. It was downtown. Bert Haas is the guy who used to book Zanies, and I went into his office, and he goes, "How many months you want to do?" I go, "Well, how many months you want to give me?" He goes, "You want to do the whole year?" Like, yeah.
Fuck.
So we just, why don't you do this? And then because of the way the calendar goes, we had to just figure out, I'd stay downtown for the extra week and then pick up the next week and, whatever. And we did all that. And it was funny when I was leaving his office, I started laughing. He's like, "What's so funny?" I go, "You know what? I've spent more time on hold trying to get one fucking weekend out of a guy than I just did getting an entire year's worth of booking." But anyway, what I would do, and you go, what does that get to do with CDs? I'll show you how I tie that in. What I would do, though, is after that, then I'd have to go back to headlining. And it's funny, people go, isn't it hard to go from MC doing 10 or 15 minutes to headlining doing almost an hour? I'm like, you know what? That takes maybe a show or two. What takes a long time is going from headlining to hosting, where automatically you're not the star. You're like, oh, the first guy who isn't funny.
Right.
You know what I mean? And sometimes you
want an ego trip kind of, right?
Well, you want to tell them too, like, fuck you. If I was closing the show, you guys would be laughing hysterically at this stuff.
Absolutely.
It gets aggravating. You're like, don't look at me like I suck because you think. I had a guy downtown Zanies, like 2 minutes in, I said something, and the one guy a younger guy, like in his 20s, started laughing. His friend hit him. I go, "What's that?" I go, "What'd you do that for?" He goes, "Well, the first guy is not supposed to be funny." I go, "Well, I just made him laugh." I go, "So you're punishing your friend?"
Yeah, what the hell?
Coming? I go, "You're punishing your friend for coming to a comedy club and laughing." I go, "There you go. You got the right idea, moron."
So so you say you're the longest.
I still haven't. I get off on so many stupid tangents. Anyway, so what I would have to do sometimes is on my way to go headline after doing like a year of House MC, I'd put in my own CD. Oh yeah, that bit. Oh yeah, that's right. Oh yeah, that bit. Oh, that's how that connects.
Yeah, I go back and rewatch a lot of my stuff. So that makes that's got to be. Obviously, I'm not headlining, but that's got to be like kind of an ego trip to go from headlining to be like, hey, you want to host now? And like, I kind of see that like people don't respect the host as much as that kind of sucks though too. But like, and I don't know. That's I thoroughly have enjoyed hosting so far, just because one, it's less material for me to remember up top, and then after I get done with my material, I can riff off of what somebody else said.
Sure,
and I just get to dick around, and I get to be on stage still. So like I'm kind of like I've been trying to go for more. I'm still getting a lot of guest spots, obviously, because I'm still pretty new. But I cannot wait till because it pretty much from what I've learned so far, is guest spots lead to host spots lead to features, pretty much.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah,
for the most part.
Yeah.
So I'm just busting out a lot of these 10-minute guest spots, and I'm just hoping that I'm going to get some hosting spots soon. I'm hosting a show on the 29th at O'Donnell's in Chicago. I'm really excited for that one. I love hosting. It's so much fun. So you said eight weeks was the longest on the road. So you said that
in a row, yeah, 8 weeks in a row.
So your majority did your work. You just worked in Chicago, basically for the most part, right? Or was it just like you were just do like a weekend here and there out of town?
Well, no, like I said, those 8 weeks those eight cities that was all Tuesday through Sunday.
Okay.
I mean, I used to work a real lot. You know what it was? I worked out of town all the time. Then I got married and the circle got kind of smaller. Then I bought a house and the circle got smaller. Then I had a son and the circle got smaller.
That's where I'm at right now because my whole goal with comedy has never been to like be like touring all the time.
Right.
I have two young kids. I want to just be able to get steady bookings in the city. And that's pretty much it. And I want my podcast to do something more than that. I don't want to be on the road.
Right.
But like that's kind of what I pictured what you were talking about when you said you did like, what was it? If you're doing so many spots, then you only have to travel 20 weeks out of the year or something like that.
Yeah. When back in that time, it was like, I
feel like it's not like that nowadays because there's just not that many places to do it locally. I mean, you got you got Lincoln Lodge, Zanies, Laugh Factory, Improv, and like that's 4 of the biggest clubs in the area.
Yeah. Well, 2 Zanies.
Oh yeah, 2 Zanies. Sorry, yeah. So 5. So you got 5 spots as opposed to what you said there was damn near like 16. Yeah, that's.
Jeez, yeah.
So like that's almost you almost have to go on the road.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So like that's kind of where I'm at to where it's just like. But I don't know. I'm not gonna say that if I ever got the opportunity I would turn it down. But at the same time, it's just like, I hope that comedy makes its way back to where there's multiple spots that you can do, you can get work and you can just like, I could quit my job one day just by doing like comedy local.
Right.
But right now it just doesn't seem like that's kind of feasible just because of the fact that there's just nowhere to do it.
Yeah, I'll tell you what I stopped doing. I don't go out of town. Something close like Milwaukee or like like Madison or something like that. But I don't go out of town December, January, February anymore because of just all the travel woes.
Yeah.
I watch on the news, I see these pileups, these 50-car pileups in the snow, and I've been how many of those I've been through and all the traveling. That was the one thing that made me think about quitting comedy was just the traveling in the winter. And I don't care if you're flying. The best advice I ever got from an older comic, he goes, "Are you flying a lot now?" I go, "Yeah, I used to fly." It's amazing how much I used to fly. Now I can't even tell you. Last time I was on a plane was when I was in Vegas, and that was last year. And I used to fly all the time.
Did you go there for a show or just for fun?
Huh? No, I mean for shows.
Yeah, it's just. Yeah. I mean, now it's just like the airfare is just incredibly.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
It's insane. Yeah, and back then it was what round trip from here to anywhere was less than $200.
Oh,
easy,
there was like you'd be an idiot to drive to St. Louis because round trip was $49. Kansas City was like $69.
Yeah, now it's like $300 or some crazy shit like that. Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
See, nowadays you gotta if you're gonna fly, you gotta be headlining theaters to be flying places to be able to make the fucking money.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I know.
That's insane.
It's crazy.
One person I want to ask you if you've worked with is Chris Farley. Did you ever meet him or work with him by chance?
No,
I know he didn't. I know he wasn't like he was more sketch
right.
acting.
No, I worked with his brother. His brother does stand up, Kevin.
Okay.
And, but they used to tell me because he used to have when he was at Second City in Chicago, his apartment was like right across the street from downtown Zanies.
Okay.
And there were stories of people would be leaving, comics would be leaving, and Chris would just come stumbling down and try to put his like key into the door and smash through the glass and stuff, like just hammered out of his skull. They're like, "You all right? All right, don't worry about me."
Did you? I mean, I'm sure like you at least met him a few times, right?
Chris? No,
really? Holy shit! Wow, shit!
I
figured you would have just because Second City and just
Yeah, no, I was never there when he was there. I'll tell you somebody I did meet in the green room. Jeff Garland. I don't know if you know who Jeff is.
It sounds very familiar. Can you pull a picture up?
Jeff Garland?
Yeah, he was in the Goldbergs. He's been in 1,000 things. As soon as you see him, you'll know him. Oh, he played Jeff Green on Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Oh yeah, I know him. Yeah. He's funny. I like him. What else is he in? Fuck, I've seen him in a bunch of stuff.
He's been in 1,000
things. He's been in a
He
bunch of stuff, yeah.
Does voiceover stuff.
Okay,
what was the point of this? What was I talking about?
I saw him in the green room.
Green room.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So anyway, he was, I'm up in the green room. He comes up and with his friend, and he goes, "Hey, this is my roommate for the summer, Conan." And I go, "What's your last name?" He goes, "O'Brien." I go, "Conan O'Brien." And he just looked at me like, whatever joke you want to make, I've heard 1,000 times. I go, "You're going to be huge." I go, that's Conan O'Brien. I go, "What a great fucking name." He goes, "Oh, thank you." But anyway, that was it.
That is his actual name, though.
Yeah, Conan O'Brien. Yeah,
because I know some people stage names or whatever.
Right.
That's a God-given perfect name.
When I heard that name, I'm like, I go, "You're going to be huge."
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
Because what happened was at that time, Conan, Garland, and Bob Odenkirk. Oh, speaking of Bob Odenkirk, so here's an Odenkirk story. So I'm working at the Comedy Boom, and Odenkirk his act was just yelling and weird stuff, like just Jesus, what the fuck is with this guy? And he comes up to me and he goes, "Hey, I heard you're starting a headline. Anywhere you could bring me with?" I'm like, "Well, Bob, I'm not really at the point where I could bring anybody with." And I'm like, "And even if I could, you're so fucking psychotic. the club would shoot me." So he's like, "All right, well, if you ever get the opportunity." The next time I see Odenkirk is he's on stage at the Emmys picking up his Emmy for writing for Saturday Night Live. I'm like, "Oh, I guess he did all right."
Yeah.
I guess he really didn't.
Jack, right on that bookshelf, there's this book, the middle book. The book. Oh, Jesus Christ, the middle book. There you go. I'm about to start his book.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'm about to start it.
Oh, all right. Yeah. That's right. I wanted to get that. I forgot. I'm glad. You know what? Let me take a picture of that.
Yeah.
Because it's the only way I remember.
Guys,
shit.
it's called Comedy Drama. It's his come up from the store in LA to writing for SNL to being Saul Goodman on Breaking Bad. So yeah. That's,
but anyway, the reason
I'm cool that you met him
is Odenkirk, Conan, and Garland were working on this project together. They were all writing this stuff like little skits and stuff like that. As a matter of fact, Odenkirk is the one that came up with Foley with the van down by the river.
Yeah,
really?
Really?
Yeah, that was
wow.
That was Odenkirk. If
that's
matter of fact,
fucking awesome.
you could Google and find that. It's a bad recording, but from Second City of them doing.
Oh
that,
shit!
Yeah,
Okay, shit. Yeah, because I up there I have a painting. It says I live in a Van Gogh.
Oh yeah, I've seen that before.
Yeah. I'm a huge Chris Farley fan. I've seen all of his SNL stuff. So I didn't even realize, I didn't put two and two together that Odenkirk was writing when he was on there, because that was the same time period. I didn't even realize that. And I don't know why I keep acting shocked when you keep mentioning all these names. It's just like each one is just like, holy fuck, that's so cool, man. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you here, dude, talking about all this.
Yeah, it's fun. You know what's weird? I realized the other day I was talking to a couple of younger comics in the green room, and I went, boy, when was that line where I went from the young guy listening to the stories of the old guy to the old guy being the one telling the stories to the young guy? I wonder when exactly that happened, because it had to be a gradual thing,
Yeah, I mean, it's so wild to think like I'm coming up on my about to start my third year. Mm. You've done it 40 more fucking years than me. I'm only 31. That's insane to me that you just like. I'm assuming you have zero fucking regrets, obviously, right? Would you have chose any other path?
Maybe gone to New York or LA.
Okay, just moving.
Yeah,
in general,
Chicago.
But comedy for sure would have been the only path for you, right?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. No regrets with that at all. Yeah.
That's like God.
Well, because as a matter of fact, when I the McDonald's at the one in Woodfield, they wanted me to stay so badly that I would have owned 51% of it by the time I was like 42 years old or something like that.
Jeez.
Oh.
And I mean, again, that was the busiest McDonald's in the world. So,
yeah.
But I didn't want to do that.
Yeah.
I just really wanted to at least try this. You know what I mean? So I tried it. And like I said, I've been giving it 6 months for the last 42 years.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. That is so cool that you like I said, dude, it's been an absolute pleasure having you here. The fact that you've done comedy something for 43 years, whether it be pretty much anybody doing anything for 43 years is pretty impressive, whether it be construction or whatever. Right. But show business that's different.
See, that's the one thing you could do.
Years in show business.
I could keep doing this until I can't talk anymore.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? That's
like there's no physical limitations until God forbid anything, but like it's just so cool that I don't know. I'm just blown away by of all the people you've met, all the stories you've shared. I would love to have you back on.
Oh, I would love to because believe me, I got.
Oh God, I know.
I got 1,000 stories
that I could. This is just part one of Vince, guys. Because we got to have you back on to continue telling all these stories and just.
Well, in my opinion, A Legend is a 3-part series.
Oh, you'll get a quintuplet series out of it, dude. You can come. You're welcome back anytime. Do you have any shows you want to promote by any chance? You're probably going to get more promotion just telling people. I don't know. I'm just trying to rip on myself. Never mind. Go on.
I'm trying to think of what I got coming up. I'm headlining CG's. Do you ever go to CG's Comedy Club?
I know. I have not been to it. I need to go to the open mic.
It's a nice room. Yeah, go there. Yeah. It's a nice. Low ceiling. What's great about that room is it's low ceiling, compact, where if you're talking to somebody in that corner, the people in that corner could hear what you're all saying, so you don't have to keep repeating.
I love that.
Like if you're doing any kind of crowd work.
Okay.
I'm there in April. I think the second week in April, I'm doing a casino up in Harris, Michigan, or something like that.
Okay.
I don't know, one of those, Golden Bear or whatever, whatever those things are all called. I'm trying to think because until I flip that calendar page over, I can't really remember what I got coming up. I got, I'm going to host for, I don't know if you guys know who Jimmy Pardo is. Speaking of podcast, Never Not Funny. You got to check that out.
I've heard Never Not Funny.
He's been doing the podcast for I think almost 18 years now.
Holy shit! He was like one of the OGs.
He was one of the first guys. Like him and his partner when they first started doing it. And Pardo too. He was like kind of like a sidekick for Conan. He did like a lot of. Here, could you pull up Jimmy Pardo?
Jimmy Pardo.
Because he did a lot of.
I think it's a D.
Yeah. There he is right there. Comedian and actor.
Looks very from. Yeah, I've seen him before. Yeah,
because he's done all kinds of stuff like. Anyway, I'm a host. He has a podcast, Never Not Funny, and he just has different guests on. They got the different levels. They got the free, the platinum, the different levels of it.
So you're going on his show?
No, I've actually done his show.
Oh, you have? Before. Okay.
But no, I'm actually he started out as a stand-up, and he's doing stand-up in Rosemont, and I'm opening. He always asks me. Nice. He always asks me to open up for him, which is cool because then he always promotes it on the podcast and what other stuff that I'm doing too. Nice. So I got that coming up, and I think I'm hosting a new material night at Rosemont Zanies.
Okay.
Did you ever hear those?
Oh, yeah.
I've been trying to submit to that show for a minute now.
Yeah?
I just don't know if I'm submitting to the right person.
Who are you sending it to?
Brian Hicks. Is he not the right guy?
Brian Hicks does downtown.
That's probably why.
I would think that you should try contacting Alex.
Okay.
At Zanies Rosemont.
Okay.
Or...
That's my goal by the end of my third year is to hopefully get on a new material night or Super 6 at either Zany's location. Yeah,
I did I love hosting the new material night because when I do it, I go up there, do a little bit of crowd work. I go, this is a new material night. And I go, it's stuff that's been done once or not ever at all. And I go, and I may not be the only comic doing this, but here's how it goes. And I just pull out the sheet and just start looking at it and riffing off of that too, which the other guys like because then they they don't feel guilty about pulling out any paper.
Right,
but I'm like,
yeah.
hey, it's
New material.
It's fucking new material night. What do you want? If it's you want polished stuff, to go to polished material night. This is new material night, you know.
So when are you hosting that again? What day is that?
I think April 16th. I want to say.
All right, April 16th at Zany's Rosemont, guys. I'm probably gonna come check that out because I do need to go.
I think that's what I don't know. I'd have to look.
Yeah,
you know, I'll let you know.
Yeah, for sure. Vince, it's been an absolute pleasure, man. I really appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, no problem.
And yeah, you're gonna get a trilogy, if not more, as much as you'll come on.
Wow, that was fast. Look what time it is.
Holy shit! Look at that.
We did an hour and 24 minutes.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, like I said, you're welcome back anytime. I can't wait to talk to you next time, guys. I hope you enjoyed this. This is the most interesting guest we've had by chance, the most professional guest we've had by chance, and the most credited guest. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. This is not his last time on. As you, we'll have him back. Don't worry, we'll get more stories out of him. Jack, you got anything?
No, I'm set. This was fun to listen to.
Hang on, guys. Let's do these.
Oh yeah, live photo. Hell yeah. There we go. Beautiful. Hell yeah.
There we go.
All right, guys. We will see you next week with a new guest, and we hope you enjoyed the week. Bye. This episode was brought to you by Fat Candle Company. That's right. You've made it to the point where we're going to give you a discount code for your order at fatcandlecompany.com. So yeah, go ahead, go to fatcandlecompany.com, use the promo code FATTORGY, that's FATTORGY at checkout, and you'll get yourself 10% off your order. Once again, that's FATTORGY, FATTORGY at the checkout to get yourself 10% off. fatcandlecompany.com.